Hi, welcome to Let's Talk. My name is Nick Cosgrove, and I'm joined today by bikini competitor Megan Lee. Megan,
Hello.
welcome.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Doing very well. How about yourself?
Excellent. I'm happy to have you on actually today. Before we start, why don't we tell everyone who you are?
My name is Megan. I am 28 years old. I work as a housekeeping manager at a five-star hotel in downtown Vancouver. So I do have a hospitality background, received my bachelor's at a VCC in 2017, and currently happily married to my husband, Anthony. We dated for 7.5 years. It's been 7 months since we got married last August. And uh, yeah, I live in Vancouver.
Has married life changed much? You guys were already together for 7.5 years. Now you're married. Has anything changed?
Yes.
Oh,
Um, Not necessarily. Well, the only thing is that actually we've never lived together. So
okay.
it was after marriage where we decided we um, just kind of jumped in there.
Oh yeah, okay.
so, so it's very interesting. It's interesting because you think you know somebody for 7.5 years, but then you learn more when you're living together for sure.
Sure,
Um, Good things. Of course, we all have little pet peeves, but
sure.
it's the whole growth of the experiment of living together. So it's been good.
There's been some good surprises and bad surprises. um, how long have you worked in the hospitality industry for?
Hospitality industry. I want to say I just feel like a lot of jobs have that hospitality component.
Okay.
When working in a hotel, I've started working in a hotel for about 3 years, a little over 3 years. Um, in the hospitality, I want to say 10 years,
Right.
over 10 years, and yeah, that's it's really I like hospitality just because uh, you're involved with a lot of types of people, and in a way, personal training I feel like it has that hospitality component because you're having to take care of all types of clients in different backgrounds. So it's
It's
always fascinating and interesting to see and to communicate with all types of people.
Sure. You know, it's funny you mentioned personal training because I attribute a lot of the stuff that I do today working with people, especially in a one-on-one environment. You have to develop those social skills with people. And I learned that
Oh yeah,
working in restaurants, nightclubs. I did that
exactly.
growing up from the time of 15 years old. So
Yeah, yeah.
I really give a lot of credit to dealing with people in a one-on-one capacity and in groups because, you know, you're not sitting behind a computer all day. You're actually
Hmm.
interacting with people on a regular
That's right.
daily basis. One of the reasons I wanted to talk with you today, though, well,
Mhm.
we're going to backtrack a little bit. We're going to get into the competitions in a few minutes, but I want to talk to
Mm.
you about how you first got into fitness.
So how I got first into fitness, I would say it was about 7 years ago when I got introduced to the gym by my husband, at the time my boyfriend. Since then, there definitely was a lot of phases. Since 7 years ago, I think my vision on weight loss was not skewed, but I felt like I was more confused and skewed of a view on weight loss. You know, the first couple years of attending Steve Nash, I was a cardio bunny, so you know I jumped from treadmill to ellipticals to a spin bike, and I did the workouts on the mats and you know the core workouts, and then that was really all I did. I gravitated more towards the women's only section and grabbed the lightest weights I can so that I don't I don't become manly. It's that fear of
Too
being
bulky.
too
Yes.
bulky, right?
Okay. Yeah.
In addition to that, you know, following the fads, oh, you know, this tea is supposed to make you lose 30 pounds in 30 days. Oh, let's buy that. You know, I
Okay.
bought
Yeah.
that, you know, I had the
Yeah.
waist trainers. And after an hour and a half workout, I remember the boyfriend Anthony at the time would ask me, oh, like, how was your workout? Oh, no, it wasn't good because I didn't sweat. So, you know, I had to spend another 15 minutes on the treadmill.
Okay.
And what's interesting is that, you know, I would work out with Anthony and he would get me to do the weightlifting, the actual, like for triceps, for biceps. And then afterwards, you know, he would ask me, oh, did you have a good workout? I said, no, not good. I have to go jump on the treadmill. So I had the impression that if I didn't sweat, then it was not a good enough workout
It
for
was
me,
an effective
which
workout.
Exactly, which was, it's not necessarily true. In addition to that, I went through a lot of kind of diet phases. So I did a whole no carb, a really big diet I did was a no carb and no sugar diet. So all I ate was protein and vegetables. Those were all my meals.
Wow.
And I eliminated all starches, and I didn't even eat fruit because it contained high sugars and high carbs in it as well too. Although yes, I did see drastic results, but long-term wise, I had to go see my family doctors. I had to see specialists. I had to take medication because of my menstrual and those the internal situations with my body that weren't functioning the way it should be. So ideally, not the best lifestyle. It's definitely not something you should be doing long term.
How long were you on that particular diet for?
I want to say about, it was a couple months. It
Okay.
wasn't just 1 month. I 4 or 5 months.
Okay. And did you design that diet yourself, or did someone recommend that particular diet to you?
I did design it myself.
Okay.
I kind of, oh, okay, gotta cut out all the carbs. And I didn't even weigh my meals actually.
Okay.
So it was effective, but it was ineffective at times because, you can put a couple of steaks on your plate and the plate full of vegetables, but at the end of the day, you're still kind of overeating in a sense.
Sure.
So yeah.
So you switched from that diet, and the next diet that you went on with that, were you still doing weight training at that point when you're following that diet? Because you had just started weight training?
When I was following that diet, I was still a cardio bunny.
You were, okay. Okay.
Yes, yes.
So go on. So, okay, what happened
Yeah.
next?
What happened next was that it was 5 years ago. So I was a cafe manager and I had resigned from that position because I was heading back to school and I was taking my bachelor's. So I had the month of August. That was my free month of not being a student and also being unemployed. So my boyfriend at the time, he was still regularly lifting and has been with me through all my fad diets and all my, breakdowns. And then during the free month, we had an agreement that, and also I had agreed with him that he would guide me through a custom meal plan,
Okay.
as well as maybe I'll start counting my macros.
Okay.
So he created like a 4-day workout focusing on specific muscle groups: back, biceps, chest and triceps, and
Legs?
legs, exactly.
Yeah.
More specific muscle groups. And we did that for 3 weeks. So I was committed to attending the gym with him for that month, about 4 times a week. And after 3 weeks, sorry, I saw shape, I saw toned muscles, boost in strength. I was absolutely, I was shocked because
Right.
it was just 3 weeks of
Just 3 weeks.
commitment.
Right.
And yeah, it's just amazing of how much, when you are just in that routine,
Yeah.
I didn't have to take any like detox teas or do an hour on the treadmill. Like, I just had to follow a proper workout plan, and also I counted my macros at the time too, and that was great.
So you were actually spending less time in the gym and now just watching your macronutrients, and you were getting better results.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Does your boyfriend have a background in like nutrition or training, or did he just kind of put this together for you?
Yeah, well, at that time he did not have a
Okay.
background.
Yeah.
Now he has a passion, so now he's a personal trainer. He took
Good for
his
him.
certification
Yeah.
just the last, like, end of last year.
Okay.
But at the time, 5 years ago, he was just very passionate about
Right.
fitness and
Yeah.
bodybuilding. So he would create plans for his friends, and maybe he would invite some friends to go work out with him one day. And
Yeah.
So I'm very lucky that he was able to create a little like a custom plan for me.
Nice.
Um,
So then you got bit by the iron bug, would you say?
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely
yeah,
I
yeah.
did.
Okay.
So since then, I started I did start recording my progress on Instagram
Yeah.
for myself, and this Instagram account that I created for myself is not really at all to get any followers,
Right.
or to get any type of attention, but it's always fascinating to look at the very first post that you had posted on that site and think, wow, like how much you have changed, and just the growth and the comparisons of how you used to be and how you are now. Because I can say now, I feel more confident, and just the need to lift heavier is such a change in mindset from how I was 5 years ago. So,
Sure. And are you still doing, I mean, obviously you're not doing an hour and a half of cardio anymore, but are you still doing cardio in addition to the resistance training?
currently, oh, you mean like at this moment right now?
Yes.
I
No,
would
not, I
say
don't mean, sorry, I don't mean during COVID-19. We'll get to that
yeah.
later on. I mean, though, in your regular training routine, are you doing
Uh-huh.
cardiovascular training in addition to the resistance training, or are you just doing the resistance training now?
I I would say I'll be doing more resistance training.
Okay.
I think after the shows, I've definitely put in a little bit more cardio. Um, the cardio would vary from 15 minutes to 30 minutes
Okay.
every day or every other day.
Well, now that's what I want to get into next. So you start lifting weights, you're lifting weights consistently for about 2 or 3 years, and then all of a sudden you want to get into competing on stage. Tell me about that.
Hmm. That was something I've been thinking about for a long, long time with competing in these competitions, because I know that uh, going into it was, I didn't know anybody else that did these competitions, but it was something that kind of always popped up on in my mind and also on my feed as well too. For example, going on Pinterest, I would always be kind of looking up healthy recipes to make or to bake, and what's the most latest booty workout that there is, and
Sure.
then stumbling upon um, couple posts on what a fitness competitor eats in a day,
Yeah.
breaking it down to how many ounces, what they eat, and the times that they have to eat, and the items that they would need to eat. That I kept looking into it more and more, and the meals itself and the timing of when they have to eat everything at that time was very fascinating. It was
Right.
very intriguing to me, and I thought, like, these foods are actually not bad at all.
No.
And so then I just kind of kept looking into it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then so I think that's when you and I probably met, and I want to say that was going about 2 years ago,
Yes.
2018.
Correct.
And you contacted me because you were interested in working with me for your first show.
Hmm. Hmm.
So you and I got together and we decided to get you ready for, I believe at the time it was the Rocky Mountain Classic. Was that right?
Correct. Yes.
Okay.
It was a BCA BBA Rocky Mountain Championships, I believe.
Right, right, right. And so this was your first show. And
Hmm.
tell me about the experience you went through first with the dieting component, and then we'll get into the training component. Switching gears into dieting first.
So for dieting, there I felt like in the beginning there wasn't too much of a change
Okay,
in my dieting lifestyle, just because the items that were in my custom made in my meal plan that you had placed for me were already things that were in my fridge. And also, if there were little things that were not in my fridge prior, you gave me a couple of days in advance so that I can go and prepare myself for that.
sure, right,
So, having that in place, the first few days were difficult just because I haven't wrapped my head around the meal plan. But after a week and 2 weeks, I kind of already knew in my head what I was going to eat. I really enjoyed not having to think or worry about what to eat. Um, Also, me loving to eat as well too. Some people that's all they think about is what they're going to eat. But having the diet in place had a less, didn't need myself to, I don't need to, I could take out that component of
Sure.
worrying or thinking about what to eat.
Yeah. And I can tell you, as a coach, working with clients like yourself, it's much easier for me because, like you said, you were already coming into this eating a fairly clean diet. All I did was take a little bit of things just to tweak that diet, bring in the food scale, start portioning out your meals, which you were already doing. Um, and just, trying to put you more on okay, we need to lose body fat, but at the same time, we want to build and preserve muscle.
Hmm.
Did you find it challenging as the diet went on, as we got closer to the show?
I think it definitely did. Yeah. I know, um, for me, I'm all about a challenge, but when
Sure.
you when you put yourself into that situation, it's definitely more, it's more definitely mental, your mental willpower. Um, I do admit that I wish I could say that I was giving 100% because, I did have, some binging episodes every so often that did not reflect the otherwise. But with every single episode, I was able to, it was always fascinating, intriguing to me every time I had those episodes because I got to think back and think, okay, why did I eat this? And um, just reflect on coping mechanisms to dodge that. There are a lot of things that you can do and a lot of things to keep yourself busy, and also the support system that you can have around yourself that makes you, in the end, focus on that one goal. That's the whole reason you are doing this.
Sure.
So
And we talk about the training that you and I designed a customized training program for you at the time. Was that much different from what you were already doing prior to working with me?
can you rephrase the question?
Okay, so before you were working with me, you had a
Mm-hmm,
training
mm-hmm.
program that you were following. And then when you and I
Mm-hmm.
first started getting ready for the Rocky Mountain Championships here in British Columbia,
Uh-huh.
I designed a training program for
That's
you.
right.
Was that
Mm-hmm.
much different from the training that you were previously doing on your own?
I would say it was more yes than no, because
Okay.
there was a lot of high reps, because as a bikini competitor, your goal is to be more lean and more toned. Um, I enjoyed doing heavier weights, so seeing a training plan that was more on high reps and higher reps
Less weight.
was very, yeah, and less weight as well
Yeah.
too, where was it took some getting used to,
Right.
but it did, it was effective. So
Can you tell me, in your own personal experience,
mhm.
the hardest part of getting ready for a fitness competition? And just let me tell people, when you're getting ready for a fitness competition, it's not, hey, let's get ready for the beach and look good for the summer. We're
Mhm.
talking very, very low body fat percentages. And I can tell
Yes.
you, if you go on Megan's Instagram, her Facebook, and look at her competition photos, you'll see what I'm referring to. What, in your
Mhm.
opinion, was the hardest part of getting ready for a show?
I would say for me it was the the support system. I had tremendous amount of support, and um for me, I think I at the time I was always kind of a people pleaser. So, and also before starting a competition too, I was very, well, actually I still am somewhat a procrastinator and a little bit lazy. Sometimes I have my self-doubts as well too, and my willpower is not the best.
You're very honest.
Yeah, no, it is true. But then I feel like with working on a plan, it really eliminates that desire.
Okay.
um, I was a major people pleaser, and I know some of us have a little. We try and um, say things that are that other people will like, uh, and I think at the time I was more of that. So with being in this during this prep, definitely you start to learn who you are able to gravitate to, or you start to know those friends that truly understand what you're going through.
Sure.
Um, so for the hardest part for me of this competition, I did enjoy all the meals and I did enjoy all the workouts. And there's actually a lot of components. I'd say even another thing, I ended up even going to the gym sometimes even twice a day just
Okay.
because there wasn't enough time in one day to uh, get everything done. I know for
Yeah.
my last show, I was with another personal trainer, and
Yeah.
my shift, I had work from 7:30 to 4. So with her program, I would need to uh, get to the gym at 5:30 in the morning to do cardio, and then head back to work. And after work, I would need to go back to the gym for another couple hours of weight training and some more cardio. So I think that was quite a struggle because I wasn't able to see um, my fiance at the time, now husband. I didn't get to see him as much as I
Sure.
wanted to.
Right.
I was at home at like midnight every night, and then have to wake up the next morning to do it all over again. So that was something that I at the time had to accept, that okay, it's just temporary. I'm just preparing for a show, and after that I can just relax and not need to go multiple times a
Right.
day.
Well, so with the second show, when you were working with the other trainer, were
Mhm.
you putting in more hours as opposed to when you were working with me in the gym?
Now, yes, I definitely did,
Okay.
but it at the end of the day,
Yeah.
if it wasn't for me eating that slice of pizza,
I see. Okay.
then
Yeah.
I would not have needed to compensate
Right.
and
Okay.
work. So I put it on me for sure.
Okay.
For a lot of it, I was trying
Well,
to.
and a lot of people don't understand. There's some people when they get ready for these shows and they're not working full-time jobs. I see
Mhm,
a lot of these people and I know them and they're getting ready for bikini or bodybuilding and they're not working 40-hour weeks like you are, and sometimes longer, right?
mhm, mhm,
So I don't think people understand is that the amount of work that goes into getting ready for a contest, especially if you're trying to hold down a full-time job and get ready for a wedding, there's a
mhm.
lot of
Yeah.
stress. So tell me, after your last show, how did everything go? Was there any post-contest rebound or anything like that?
I I did receive a reverse diet,
You did,
which
okay.
yes, yes, and it was a great reverse diet plan. I just for some reason chose not to follow it, and I ended up gaining a lot of weight.
That's actually very common. That's super common. Yeah.
And what the funny thing is that I think it was 4 days after the competition, I jumped on the scale, and it was the first time I jumped on the scale, and I gained about 13 pounds,
Yeah.
and my jaw dropped to the floor. I couldn't believe it.
Right.
And after I jumped on the scale literally on that day, and I, okay, time to start the reverse diet now.
Right. Right.
I
Right.
gotta jump on that. Um, and it's really intriguing again with this whole process and the whole post rebound phase, is that I've taken pictures of like 4 days post show or 1 week post show, and I remember looking at the mirror and thinking like, wow, I'm not, I feel so overweight. But now looking back, I was just fine. It's just all in here.
It's
It's a
all
mental.
mental. That's
Yeah.
right. Yeah. And it's funny you bring that up because I work with a lot of competitors, and no matter how good they look, it's something up here, and they're like, "Oh, I could have looked better." I'm like, "But you just placed top 3 in BC.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, how much better can you look?" And I want to
Yeah.
mention on your first show, you actually placed top 3 as well.
Yeah.
So I mean, it goes to show you. I mean, if you put in the work, you can get the
Yes.
results.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So now we're 2020. We're living through COVID-19. There's no
Yeah.
shows on the radar right now.
Mm-hmm.
But you reached out to me a few weeks ago saying, "Hey, Nick, you know what? I want to do this again."
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so
Mm-hmm.
where's your mindset at right now as far as competing? Are you still thinking, "Hey, if 2020, if all of a sudden the shows open up again, COVID-19 settles down a bit, I'm going to get you back on stage"?
I'm definitely aiming for one of the shows in October.
Okay.
Um, that's if 2020, if if it still ends up going 2020 or the year for this year. But I definitely want to do one more show because I think with being married and having family ask about, what our plans are, eventually I want to start a family as well too. I also want to go traveling as well. So I think one more show I'd definitely love to fit in. And then we'll see where we go from there.
If you could offer one piece of advice, let's say someone's watching this and they're thinking about getting into competing, and they want to be a bikini competitor, for example. Knowing
Hmm.
what you know now after doing a couple of shows, what would you tell them just to warn them what to expect?
Definitely. They would need to, for sure, do their research,
Okay.
especially when it comes to your well being. You would need to ask yourself questions. You'll need to ask yourself these following questions, which lead you to whether you're ready or not. For example, why are you competing? Is it just solely to lose weight, or do you have issue? Do you have body image issues? Is that the reason? Also, what are you trying to achieve with competing? Are you doing it to gain others' approval, or are you doing this for your own self development? Also, the sacrifices. You have to be aware of all the sacrifices that you'll have to make during this prep, such as, not going out as much, all the meal prep, the time that you'll need to take to do the meal preps, as well as possible days where you might need to work out more than once during a
Right.
day.
Sure.
In addition to that, I feel like just mentally and emotionally, are you ready to feel just mentally ready, I guess? What if somebody or a friend or a family member makes a comment, some sort of maybe like an ignorant comment about
Sure.
your lifestyle? Are you going to explode on them? Are you going to be able to um, accept that there might be others that don't understand what you are doing, and they
Yeah.
will never understand?
Right.
So with all those judgments, you have to be able to mentally handle it and know how to appropriately take care of yourself as well too.
Yeah, that's really good advice. I always tell a lot of my clients, especially in those last, 3 or 4 weeks getting ready for a show, it's almost like you have to develop tunnel vision and kind of block out all the
Mhm.
negativity. Because there's
Mhm.
always going to be someone that's going to say something negative. Why are you doing this? This is so stupid. You're so
Mhm.
vain. I've heard it all. I mean,
Yeah.
I've done
Right.
over, I've lost count how many shows I've done.
Mhm.
But I mean, if this is your goal, you have your reasons for doing it, then you're going to
That's
stay on
right.
track. And whether you
Mhm.
place first place or last place, you accomplished your goal, and that was to get on stage.
Mhm.
I want to shift gears to COVID-19. As someone, you're like me, you're an iron junkie. What are you doing with all the gyms closed now? How are you staying in shape?
I'm having trouble, Nick. I'm having trouble doing the mat workouts because it reminds me of what I used to do, 5 years ago. And but sometimes I do a little a glute kick here or there, but otherwise, I've been running more.
Okay.
Um, it's been the first week was very, very brutal. I think all I did was just sleep all day. I
Okay.
woke up, I made a breakfast, and then I would be sitting in front of the TV watching Netflix for hours, and then I'd pass out, I'd wake up, I'll migrate to the bed, and then I'll sleep some more. So
Right.
that was nearly like every day
Okay.
until just about a few weeks ago. I just thought, okay, there's so many things that I have always wanted to prioritize when I was working, but then I always told myself that I was just too busy, so I'd
Right.
always put it aside. These kind of things were just, reading, studying a new language, and organizing some wedding photos that I had from last year. I always put it aside. So, at this point, it's just, I might as well tackle those projects.
Sure.
Otherwise, I'm actually, uh, there's really no excuses. So,
Exactly.
um,
Yeah.
every day I have been running. I don't like running, but I'm kind of pushing myself to go out there, especially with the great weather that we've been having these days. It might as well take advantage.
Yeah, we're very lucky to live in BC. I was actually interviewing a friend of mine who lives in Edmonton yesterday, and he's like, "I've got 6 feet of snow right now. I can't go
Oh
anywhere."
no.
So I know we are very lucky to get some outside workouts in. I know it's not the same thing as being in the gym,
Yes, yeah.
but hopefully within the next few months, we get some parents to go in the gyms and start training again. Because I think not only for physical health but mental health, I think that's
Yes.
extremely important just to get that physical activity in. Now, I know that you yourself don't train people, but I follow you on Instagram. Your photos and your videos are very inspirational and very motivating.
Oh,
Um,
thank you.
well, with your permission, I'd like to give a link to your Instagram so people can follow you. I know you don't put up your photos so you hope to get followers,
Yeah.
but I think during this time, it's good to see people who are staying active, staying fit, and just look at how far, like you said, look at your first photo versus look at your last photo,
Right.
how far you've come. With your permission, I'd like to put up your Instagram contact information to a link in this video.
Okay.
Yeah, you're
Sure.
okay with that?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, thank you.
Oh, thank you. Megan, I want to thank you so much for taking this time to come and talk to just me about what it takes to get on stage, especially from a woman's perspective. I hear it from guys all the time, but it's nice to hear it from a woman's perspective because I do have a lot of clients that reach out to me and think, is this for me? And, coming from a guy, I think the message is a little bit different as opposed to hearing it from someone who's done it before. Yeah. Oh,
Will
I want to
do.
thank you so much for coming on.
Thank you,
And
Nick. It was so funny. I have to say that when you first asked me, my immediate response in my head was no, because that was the procrastinator side of me
sure.
saying, okay, no, I don't want to be involved because but then otherwise, this itself, thank you for having me because it just kind of got me working on another project.
Another project.
Great.
I'm glad I got you
No, it's
working.
great.
Well, you know what? Maybe I'd get you on again sometime because
Oh, okay.
what I'm looking to do in the future is actually have a few competitors come on, and we're going to have a little bit of
Amazing.
an iron debate here because I've got some people who've got some different views, and I'd love to get your views on certain components when it comes to competing on stage.
Yes.
So
No,
hopefully you
absolutely.
won't say no to me when I ask you again.
No, I'll take it.
Awesome. You heard it. She said she'll take it.
Yeah.
Okay, Megan, thank you so much for coming on and enjoy the rest of your day. And I look
Thank you,
forward to
Nick.
seeing you again soon.
Yes, likewise. Have a good day.
Thanks, Megan. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.